Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. I want to welcome you all back to episode 2 of my series, This Left Turn Feels Right. This is where I take a look at a list of bands who, at one point in their career, decided to record one, maybe two albums in a different music genre than what they were known for previously. In some cases, enjoying varying degrees of success, and in other cases, pretty much dealing with the consequences of their actions. In episode 2, I will be looking at the band Queen. Forming originally in 1970 in London, England, you had the three core members of the band: Freddie Mercury on lead vocals and piano, Brian May on guitars, lead and backing vocals, and Roger Taylor on drums, percussion, and lead and backing vocals. Throughout 1970, they went through a list of bass players. I believe the number was seven, according to legend, until February of 1971, when bassist John Deacon joined the lineup, thus forming what is known as the classic lineup of Queen. Queen would go on to sign record deals with EMI in the UK and in Europe, and with Elektra Records in the US, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand around late 1971, early 1972. The band would release their debut self-titled album in 1973 and Queen 2 in 1974, respectively. With Queen 2, the band started to enjoy some success with the single Seven Seas of Rye, reaching number 10 in the UK charts. Queen 2 is an album would reach number 5 in the UK charts and number 49 in the US charts. Now, before I continue, okay? Make no mistake, Queen and Queen 2 are out and out heavy rock albums. There's no getting around that. Okay. It wasn't until the release of the third album, Sheer Heart Attack, in November of 1974, where the band started to spread out musically and go off into different music genres. The band enjoyed success with Sheer Heart Attack with the release of Killer Queen as a single, reaching number 2 in the UK charts and number 12 in the US charts. Now, as I said, with the release of Sheer Heart Attack, the band started to diversify in terms of their sound. They started to go into more dancehall, more ballads, ragtime jazz, more sort of pop-oriented stuff. It was also said that Brian May was concerned that with Killer Queen, were they selling themselves as a lighter brand or a lighter band, considering the music that they had released previously. But he also conceded that Killer Queen was a major turning point for the band, and it was a turning point that they needed in terms of chart success. The band would follow up the success of Sheer Heart Attack with the releases of A Night at the Opera in 1975 and A Day at the Races in 1976, respectively, containing the singles Bohemian Rhapsody, Monster Hit, and the AM/FM friendly hit, You're My Best Friend, written by John Deacon. A Day at the Races would contain the single, the gospel tinged Somebody to Love, and also to a lesser extent, Tie Your Mother Down as a single. The band would continue the diversity in their music compositions with the releases of News of the World in 1977 and Jazz in 1978, containing the singles We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions from News of the World, and Bicycle Race and Fat Bottom Girls, and Don't Stop Me Now from Jazz. In 1980, the band released two more albums: The Game on June 30th, 1980, and the Flash Gordon soundtrack in November of 1980. Now, with The Game, they achieved major success in North America. It was their first number one album, which Brian May was striving for all along. With the success of Crazy Little Thing Called Love, and also the 3 million seller single, Another One Bites the Dust, which, quote, written by John Deacon, is an out and out disco track. And it caused some concern and some arguments within the band. Roger Taylor did not want to do disco. He did not want to go into a dance field. And John Deacon did. And being, a Democratic band, Roger Taylor had to acquiesce to this request. Again, they achieved major success with Another One Bites the Dust. They felt at this point that they could even go further with regards to their musical output and be even more musically diversified. In 1982, they released Hot Space. Now, this is where the left turn happens. Okay. Hot Space is considered by some diehard Queen fans a hot mess. As diversified as the band were in terms of their musical output, Hot Space, for some people, was a left turn too far. This is basically an R&B album. You have songs such as Body Language, which was the first single, Back Chat, Staying Power. You also had some tracks that were more rock oriented, like Put Out the Fire, and ballads like Las Palabras de Amor. And they also had the single Under Pressure, which the Bowie collaboration, which was released a year earlier as a standalone single. They basically tacked this on to the album in terms to give it more of a selling point. It was at this point that fans of the band were quite confused. Like, what are they? Are they a rock band? Are they an R&B band? What is going on? In 1983, they left Elektra Records, signed a new deal with Capitol Records in the US, and released the albums The Works in 1984 and A Kind of Magic in 1986. Now, with The Works, they did achieve chart success with Radio Gaga in the US, reaching number 16 in the charts. However, due to some external forces beyond their control, Radio Gaga was quickly dropped from US radio stations. In 1986, with the release of A Kind of Magic, the album reached number 56 in the US charts, with such single releases as Pain is So Close to Pleasure and the title track. The album did not do as well as they hoped, and they found their popularity and fortunes in the US dwindling. They had taken a 3-year break and came back with the albums The Miracle in 1989 and Innuendo in 1991. Now, The Miracle for me is an interesting story. I view The Miracle as a culmination of the game and Hot Space because you had heavier rock oriented songs like I Want It All, which was the first single, and Khashoggi Ship, the second part of the first track, and also the title, not title, but the final track on the album, Was It All Worth It, on side 2, which was heavy as all get out. However, The Miracle only reached number 49 in the US charts. With the release of Innuendo, they had left Capitol Records, signed a new recording and distribution deal with Hollywood Records, distributed at the time by Warner Music, and released Innuendo, which to a lot of people was considered to be a return to form for Queen. And I would have to agree. Featuring the singles Headlong, which was the lead single in the US, the title track, the 6-minute plus Innuendo, epic that it was. Also, These Are the Days of Our Lives, beautiful, poignant single, and the promo single, The Show Must Go On, the last track on the album. Innuendo would be the last album that Freddie Mercury would release with the band during his lifetime. Now, the crux of this conversation. Did the left turn of releasing Hot Space feel right? I would have to say no. For myself as a fan, and for a lot of other people who were major fans of the group, and also for members of the band themselves. Roger Taylor has gone on record as saying that he was not a fan of releasing Hot Space at all because he did not want Queen to be a dance band or an R&B band. He wanted them to continue as a rock band, but also incorporating many different influences, but maintaining the heaviness and the rock element at the core of the band. Brian May would go on record as saying in 1989 that Hot Space was a mistake, timing wise. They felt at the time that because they would be able to go off and do, dance hall and ragtime and ballads and waltz oriented tracks, a la the Millionaire Waltz from A Day at the Races, that they possibly at the time could go into a dance oriented genre. It didn't work. It didn't work. In my very humble opinion, the left turn or this left turn did not feel right for the fans or for the band. And it did cost them the popularity in the US. There, as Brian May had put in the documentary These Are the Days of Our Lives, he wished that the singles that were released in Europe throughout the 1980s could have been hits, sorry, in the US, because there was a whole catalog of hits released in Europe that were never released in the US, and that moment or opportunity for success was gone. Okay. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for episode 2 of This Left Turn Feels Right. Please put in the comments down below your opinion of Hot Space. Was this a left turn that felt right for you? Or was this where the band took this left turn and you basically jumped off the Queen train and never returned? Okay. No right or wrong answers, just opinions. And I will be back with episode 3 of This Left Turn Feels Right. I will be doing, originally I was going to do, 4 segments to this series, but I will be doing an episode 5 with Jim Bricker. We will be covering Peter Gabriel and his release of So in 1986. So that's coming up. So again, please click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content that I've got coming up. I've got more shows coming up again with Jim Bricker, Ken Cheshire, and also Bill Schuster in the near future. And please look after yourselves and one another. I will see you soon with another video. Bye for now.